Welcome to 8X Pixel Virtual Expo. And and during the week of World Ocean Week, we would like to, we are actually honored today, honestly, to have Cristian Dimitrius to be a part of this sessions of programs that we have with regards to underwater filmmaking and also photography. So today, in conjunction with World Ocean Week itself, we are collaborating this whole content together with Blue Hope campaign, which is partnered and also backed up by the British High Commissioner of Malaysia. Herewith, without any further ado, let me just introduce to you who is Cristian Dimitrius. I don't think he deserves any, any further explanation of who he is, to be honest. So Cristian is a cinematographer, a photographer, and a television presenter specializing in wildlife and natural history, on land or underwater, from ants to whales. Cristian's innovative cinematography and style and his unorthodox camera techniques are helping to revolutionize the way people see things and perceive wildlife. Well, let's not wait any longer. Cristian, over to you.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Hi. It's a pleasure to be here talking to you all. I'm in Brazil right now. It's 7 a.m. I don't know what time it is around the world for you, but it's glad to be here talking and sharing some of my experiences. So over the course of the next 45 minutes, an hour, I will show a little bit of my work, some recent work, some other clips, and introduce you to the world of wildlife filmmaking, especially here in Brazil. So let me share my screen. And there we go. Yes, it's here. So first of all, thank you very much, everyone from ADEX, for doing this. I think you're doing a great job in joining so many great people to talk to the world about so many important questions and also inspire people to take care of the planet. So my name is Cristian Dimitrius. I'm a wildlife filmmaker. I work both underwater and topside. And I film all over the world, but recently I've been filming a lot in Brazil. So one of my passions is Brazilian nature. So my goal is to show my country to the world. We've been doing this through series of like segments for TV and also a series called Wild Brazil that is now in the third season on National Geographic. And I'm gonna go through my work and answering basically 3 questions, which is what I do, how I do, and why I do all of this. And as I say, I work topside and underwater. Here's a sample of the images I've been doing for the last few years. Well, these are just sample of the images I've been doing, and I've worked for a series of documentaries for most of the channels already. Been working for National Geographic, Discovery, Animal Planet, BBC, Smithsonian, and Netflix. We have documentaries all over the platforms and all over the world as well. And also, I have a TV show here in Brazil where we reach an audience of 50 million people, is like a third of the Brazilian population, where we show nature in a very popular way, which is, I think it's really important because we kind of show the importance of conservation of this animal in a way that the audience can understand. Sometimes we put some humor, sometimes we make strong images, and sometimes we expose ourselves to some kind of danger that is not real danger. So we grab the attention of the audience and we turn an animal that people sometimes fear and an animal that people will respect and understand. So we one of my last stories I did for them was about the caimans in the Pantanal, which are crocodilians, reptiles that most of the people fear. And I told to the people that we could go in the water with them because they're not dangerous, so there's no need to kill them. And I proved that going to the Pantanal and getting in the water of these animals. So here's the place that we've been. I do lots of diving in fresh water. There's a lot of freshwater environments in Brazil. So these are the caimans, smaller crocodiles. These are the most popular species in Brazil, in this region of the Pantanal. And they feed basically on fish, but they also eat smaller mammals. And the Pantanal is the largest wetland on Earth. And there is the flood season and the wet season. We went there during the flood season, have to cross huge areas of flooded roads. And sometimes these bridges are underwater. And that's where we find these animals, the caiman. And my goal was to get in the water and film them on their environment. And that's the same. What I'm doing here is the same way we present the show. We go live and we talk about these animals. We teach them the characteristics of these animals. So I was telling that we could approach the animal with care, always watching the animal, watching the body language of the animal, and told that that's totally possible and there is no risk. That actually there is no risk at all because these animals are not dangerous. People fear them because they don't know them, and that's most of the common things. People fear what they don't know, and showing this, people lose the fear. I don't think people will get in the water with them. They still have a little bit of fear, but the fear becomes respect, and these animals are protected now. There was a time where they almost got extinct because of hunters, and now they are protected. And even when the animal approach this, they see they get really close, and even they're in my back, but they don't attack. But I have to say that sometimes it scares a little bit because of the movement. And it's always great to be in this environment, the animal environment. This is always one of my goals, to get in the environment, to get up the animal environment, to see the world as they see, and then share this with the audience. So on this show, we usually are on screen. So I'm, as a presenter, I am in screen, and I try to show the animals in a little more like reality way, and also mix with that blue sheep style a little bit, and so people can enjoy like a good sequence, and also try to be part of this, feel like they are on scene as well. Always trying to be as close as possible so people can feel immersed in this environment. These are magnificent animals. I really love reptiles in general, and I've been diving with Nile crocodiles in Botswana, Salty in Australia, and American crocodile. And I think these animals, if you do it properly, there's no problem like having an experience like this. Of course, every animal is different, and also there's a lot of knowledge you need to know to do it safely. But this is always the goal. You can be face to face. And when people watch this, they understand that the animals are not animals that are there just to kill us. Even when they are close. There we go. So besides this show that we talk to a popular audience, I do a lot of work for Blue Sheep Films. Like this is a sequence I did for Hostile Planet, a series for National Geographic. And it's a place that I know very well. It's the Amazon here in Brazil. And it's about the flooded forest. And I've done this for the first Wild Brazil series. We had a segment where the forest floods and the sloth tried to swim from one tree to the other. The sequence I did about 3 times, and this was the last time. So every time we go back to a subject, we try to tell the story in a different way, even in a more cinematic way. And first time was more like long lens, classic wildlife shooting. And this time we did more with movement, gimbals, and the results were really, really impressive. So here's the sequence. This is in the Amazon. The idea was to show the waterways all the way through the Amazon basin.
Transforms life over 1,000 miles away.
was narrated by Bear Grylls.
So much water collects in the Amazon basin below that the Earth's crust sinks by 3 inches. A drowned forest. This extreme change takes months. Even so, it can creep up on those who live their life in slow motion. Moving between the trees becomes challenging. She needs to find her next meal. But she's surrounded. Creatures that spend most of the year on the forest floor now find themselves floating 30 feet above it. Their only refuge is in the trees. But she must brave the deep. This sloth's home is flooded. To find her food, she must swim. Defenseless against what lies beneath. Like most animals here, sloths are adapted to get through this annual flood. Fermenting leaves fill her stomach with gas that helps keep her afloat. She's 3 times faster in water than on land. When the forest floods, it opens up a whole new world. Pink river dolphins can explore an area larger than Arizona. They echolocate to hunt for fish in the murk, using higher frequencies than their marine cousins to see with superior definition. Recently, these floods have been reaching record-breaking highs, but there have also been devastating lows. And as our world changes, drought is the greatest natural threat to jungles worldwide.
So this was a complete sequence we did in about 2 weeks. Very small team, just me, an assistant, and a local guide. And it's a very complete season set of shooting because we use drones underwater. We use setup in aquariums. We work with habituated animals like the dolphins in one area, wild animals. And there was a lot of rain, remote shooting. And that's one of the most complete shoots we have done for this series, using a lot of skills to make one sequence like that in a very short period of time. And we work a lot on the coast, like the movie, the Paradise Coast, we have shown here in ADEX. And this is some behind the scenes images that we shot during the shoot of that show. Here's some other behind the scenes. And one of the sequences that we really like from that show was the crab eating, the mooring wheel eating crabs out of these tide pools. Every day on this island of Fernando de Noronha in Brazil, every time when you have a low tide, there is a massive migration of crabs from the edge, from the shore, all the way to the outer reefs where they can eat algae. And in this way, there is octopus and mooring that hunts them. And this was a sequence we filmed here for the first time for this episode for the episode of this show. This was done after that for Blue Planet 2, and also we did for the next our next series that I'm gonna show later. But this, if you watch the Paradise Coast on ADEX, you probably saw this sequence. But here it is. This is a very, very interesting sequence, like the other one I just showed. A lot of skills to make it happen, from underwater, macro, long lens, smaller cameras, compact cameras.
The crabs have to cross the killing pools. They have no choice if they are to eat. The octopus even leaves the water and walks over the rocks to reach the pools. The crabs make the journey with every tide, so the killers know their routes. A moray eel slithers over the rocks to reach the pools. The octopus hunts by stealth, using its incredible powers of camouflage. The eel seeks out a place from which to ambush. The crabs cross as quickly as possible, even walking on water in their attempt to avoid the waiting killers. The moray eel lies in wait at a well-used crossing point. But the crabs are called lightfoot for a reason. The monster's patience pays off.
So this is interesting. This sequence was shot about 8 years ago. Like I said, it was the first time this behavior was filmed. And after that, we did another 3 times. And the last time was for the last season of Wild Brazil, or Untamed Brazil, depends where it's shown. It's a series for National Geographic. The first series was about the Pantanal. The first season, we did the 10 episodes about the Pantanal. The second was about the Brazilian biomes in general, and this is focused on our coast. And we had the pleasure to do this sequence again and show everything in a different way, tell the story in a different way, because our focus here now is always to tell a story, a different story every time we film. And this has been great. We have new technologies, so we can tell the sequence in a totally different point of view. And this is what makes wildlife filmmaking so good, like to be able to go back and tell the story in a different way. And so here is filming for the first season. Here's a different, like the same animal I show it we filmed for the show, but from the last, from the first, what was not the first season, but the first series we worked, the same one from the Paradise Coast. Same animal, but a very different classic wildlife filmmaking. What I say when I talk about classic wildlife filmmaking is like long lens, tripod sticks, and shooting very stable images from a distance. And now we try to do everything a little more different, try to approach more, use special camera, use new techniques. Sometimes on these environments, we have to face these terrible mosquitoes. They come all over our body. Like this was trying to film the caimans, we had to face mosquitoes and get like bitten like that. The whole body, face, everything bitten. This is how, just to say how hard this environment for us sometimes. This is part of the job, get bitten like that. Luckily, I'm not allergic, so after half an hour, I was good. After a shower and a beer, I was good to go again, but it's not easy. So some other environments are more pleasing to work, like the coast of Brazil is magnificent, and that's why we decided to make a series just about the coast. The episode we have in Adex, the Paradise Coast, is one episode about the coast of Brazil. We turned that episode in one whole series, like 8 episodes, just telling the story, so we could go deeper into the stories. And every story we have on that show, we can tell in a different way and also expand, show more of the animal in other parts of the day and other conflicts. And this was great to do it. This series is not out yet. It will be released next month in National Geographic Latin America and then go all over the world. So here's the trailer for it. So now the next step, what we're doing is creating this huge series about Brazil. Here's the trailer. It's in Portuguese, but I'll try to translate.
A costa brasileira é uma das mais espetaculares do mundo.
The Brazilian coast is one of the most spectacular in the world.
Em cada parte, uma característica única.
Every part, a single characteristic, a single feature.
Uma explosão de vida.
An explosion of life.
Esta é uma série sobre estes habitantes.
This is a series about these habitats.
E como eles vencem os desafios de cada dia.
And how they deal with the everyday challenges.
8 episódios sobre o lado selvagem de nossa imensa costa.
8 episodes about the wild side of our amazing coast. about Brazil, new season, the amazing coast. So one entire season, 8 episodes about the coast. And what is interesting about the series, we don't have sometimes the length of shooting of a usual wildlife production. For this series, we had about 10 days for each location, which means for each episode, which is very challenging to do an hour show in 10 days is challenging. But after knowing this place so well, more you know the place, more you know the stories, and more you know also the equipment, and you know about the skills, and you have a good team, you can make it happen. And we're very pleased with the whole sequence. Of course, we'd love to spend more time in each location, but this is what we can do here. And we always did our best, and we're very happy with the results of this series. And I hope I can show you soon. So moving on, the next subject, how I do all of this, we could understand what I do and now how. This is a little behind the scenes where of this series I just showed. We use as much equipment we can, cheaper equipment, whatever we have on hand. High-end equipment like the CN20, every kind of drones, GoPros, there's no limit. And we go to all these environments and
não tem como conseguir uma imagem sem enfiar o pé na lama.
And the idea is always to be creative, using different gear, using whatever resources we have to show the world in a different way.
Agora a missão vai ser levar a Red 50
We
mil.
take some risks sometimes.
Os Guarás agora no final da tarde. Para fazer uma boa imagem, a gente tem que se arriscar. Eu acho que mais risco que isso, com a câmera, é difícil.
Yeah, so, we mix like high-end equipment with very, very like improvised equipment, like this pole with a GoPro on the top to get an image like that.
Esse é um mergulho que eu adoro fazer sempre.
And diving, even like tech diving, regular diving, all over the
último segundo pra gente ver se a gente consegue algo legal.
saying that
Nunca dá pra parar.
always in the last second if we get something good we persist, and that's always our goal. We don't discriminate any story. For us, everything is a story. Everything you can see it in a natural world it's a potential story. When we go to this environment, we try to show the place, show everything. Most of the times when you do this series, we don't have a pre-story, we have ideas. But when you get in the field, we discover the stories as we go. We try to use the most recent gear, everything that we have on hand. But the most important thing for us is to turn something that is ordinary in extraordinary, not just the main behavior, because we don't have time sometimes to get like a hunt, a catch, but we have different ways to tell a regular story, show a place that people have seen in a more classic way, in a different and creative way. So we try to use gear that we have available. Sometimes to rain, sometimes to have like showing this is a manatee shoot that we use a very slow motion camera to show the behavior. This image was shot on red on slow motion for an IMAX film. So this is the manatee eating. It's already slow enough to see the behavior. So we see them eating on their environment, an image that is not very often seen, but the animal is already slow. It's an animal that it's very, very slow, but why not to show that with a slow motion camera like a Phantom and shoot that on 1,000 frames? So we did that to see that, and the results are amazing and incredible. But this is just one example how you can try to use your creative to show something that is ordinary and turn that into extraordinary. Nobody would think like, I'm gonna use a Phantom to shoot a manatee eating. Sometimes you think, I'm gonna do like a cheetah hunting. I'm gonna use for like a sailfish, but why not a manatee? Anything. So just try to think different. Try to show that in a totally different perspective, and that always works. So remember, just try to turn the ordinary into an extraordinary. And that is one of the goals that we have here. Even with limited resources, don't think that we need high-end cameras for that. We can use GoPros and do the same thing. Like everything, like you have access, you can use your you can use creativity, and you'll be surprised with the results. So this is a sequence for our Wild Brazil series, the last episode. The narration is in Portuguese, but I can tell you this. This is the coral in Brazil. We're gonna show them eating. Everything that we've seen here was shot in only one night. Even the time lapse that I did, like I put a camera on a tripod, I did the time lapse for day to night. I didn't use the lights on the camera for this. Most of the time you had an assistant holding the light outside the camera so you can have a more natural look. And then a series of wide angle, macro shots, problems, and macro extenders, and everything that could help me to tell the story. So to get all the pieces for the sequence and show that corals at night, they are hunters. And it's amazing what you can see when you go macro and you see all these animals, plankton, like going into the coral. And people in general, they don't have any idea. They think corals are like rocks. But here we can show them that they are very much alive, and they can hunt at night with their tentacles. Most of us probably knows that, but when you're talking about doing a nature film for that, we're trying to reach a broader audience, an audience that has no access to this information or this image. And this is the most important thing for us. It's like to reach an audience so they can understand, they can learn about the natural world, and then start caring about, because we don't protect what we don't know. So another example we use, like the probe lens, to show how fish can use the corals to protect themselves. So a very simple scene that can show that. This is a very classic, and then just one sequence that we had in one dive. There was no like second tries. For this series, we have just one shot, and then we try to be very creative to do this in a different. This is all pro, and this is a regular wide angle for the underwater shot. And as I say in the beginning, I work a lot in freshwater. And one example of like turning ordinary into extraordinary was with this anaconda shot. This was done for the last BBC series, One Planet, Seven Worlds. I had this assignment to do this anaconda shoot. And to get an anaconda hunting and getting a prey underwater is very rare. I've seen only one time, and we didn't get the catch. We saw it after the animal already catch was a peccary, but we want to show the animal in a different way. So I get the anaconda moving, and my focus was to get a different view of the movement, and this what I got. When I was filming this, I knew I had something different because this is a perfect way to introduce this animal in a very mysterious way. It looks like Godzilla or something like that, something you don't know, a massive animal that turns like the bottom of the river into a sandstorm. And this is the complete sequence. You see it. I'm going to show it. It's a sequence about monkeys and piraputangas that I've done like 5 times. And it's a totally different than the Wild Brazil series that I was telling, because we spent with a big team 2 weeks to do only one sequence. And my goal was to show some of the fish and the anaconda. And the anaconda introduction was one of the most common scenes of this episode. Everybody asked me how you did that, and was like trying to explain them that my goal was to show the animal in a very different way, not in a regular way. So here's the sequence, the complete sequence. Then I'm gonna show the whole behind the scenes.
South of the Amazon, there's one creek unlike any other on the continent. Here at Bonito, freshwater springs bubble up from deep underground. Filtered through limestone, they create crystal clear pools. And in them live some remarkable fish. Piraputanga. The water is so clear that they're able to see what is going on above its surface. Brown capuchins are up there, looking for a meal. The Piraputanga watch them attentively. Wherever the monkeys go along the banks, the fish follow. The monkeys are on their daily search for ripe fruit, and the fish cannot by themselves know where that might be. But here it is. And fortunately, the monkeys aren't the neatest of feeders. Every scrap is fought over. One monkey has the job of keeping an eye out for danger. Anacondas are the largest of all snakes. They grow to over 200 kilos. And they usually stalk their prey from the water. But it's not fish that they're after. If the monkeys stray too close to the water, they will be in danger. The scout gives a warning call. That might have to be the end of the monkey's meal for today. But now the Piliputanga know where the fruit is. And there's still plenty left on the tree. In the monkey's absence, they go for it themselves. Success or failure is just a matter of millimeters. With a split-second adjustment, the fish bends in midair and collects the prize. The Piliputanga's extraordinary feeding technique relies on these waters remaining clear.
So, first, it's really nice to see a footage narrated by Sir David Attenborough. And also, it's amazing how you can, this is a behavior we see on this place every day. The anaconda is common on this area during this month of July and August. And to show that in a very extraordinary way, it's ours or the most important thing. And for the anaconda sequence, we had only one single dive. All the anaconda's images we shot in one single dive, one encounter. I've seen other anacondas during the shoot, but all the footage was in one opportunity. So to make the best you can in one opportunity is always important. The other sequence took like 2 weeks to get all the pieces together, but we spent like a week looking for anacondas, and we had this only one chance, this big anaconda swimming, and there was no other opportunity even to go back and try to. We tried more, but we didn't find the animal again. So this is always our goal also. When you have the opportunity, don't waste it. Be ready, be prepared, and do your best, the best you can on that opportunity. And it really pays off. So I'm glad I was ready, and I had enough experience with these animals. And I never saw that kind of cloud, this movement of sand the anaconda did again. Even I went there like two more times. And on the second, this was shot like 2 years ago, and I have like the last 2 years I went back for more anacondas. And this is how we did that. I'm gonna show a little bit of behind the scenes. So the place is Bonito, a city in Brazil. Bonito, it means beauty, and you probably know why that the name is Bonito, because it's a very pretty place. There's a lot of springs on this area, so water is bubbling from underground, and it's really, really clear. Like it's one of the most clear waters I have seen. Visibility can reach up to 50 to 60 meters. and sometimes you don't feel water. And there's a lot of life, a lot of fish, different species. And this is Dorado, a big predator of that area. We can find caimans, another species of caiman different than the one I showed. And of course, where there is a lot of food, there is predators like the anaconda that usually hunt this Piraputanga fish, the one we've seen jumping on the previous sequence. So the anaconda always spreads them, and we go there for them to get this image. So we drive to this location. This is a small swamp area. We use these small boats, always small teams. There's no way we can get in the water with more than one. Like it's one or two maximum in the water to film them. Everything needs to be ready all the time because you spend a lot of time looking for them, searching the area, scoping the grass, like the sawgrass. This is all sawgrass, so it's very hard to see stuff on them. So eyes open all the time, looking for the animals. Sometimes we spend the whole day and we don't see one single anaconda. Sometimes we see a smaller one. Sometimes we find only just the skin. This is the skin of the anaconda because they shred the skin like often, so it's not hard. And this is a kind of hint that there is animal in the area. This is probably a smaller one, a male. Male are smaller than female, so our goal is always to find a big female. But this is a good hint, it's a good cue that we are in the right place. So imagine this huge swamp area, and we only have the river to find the animals. So it takes like days. You need to be lucky. Sometimes you find it the first day. Right here in the scene, there is an anaconda. If you're not able to see, no problem, because it's really hard. So the animals stay in the middle of the vegetation like this. There it is. It hides. It comes out in the winter because the cold days are the best to see them. The cold nights, when you have a very cold night, the next day you probably go there and you see one animal. This is a smaller, very small male. And when we see them, we approach and they try to escape from us and go to the water. And that's when we go and film. So you need to arrive very slowly to try to avoid them to escape before we're ready. And on this place, the visibility sometimes is not the best, but when we find the animal, it's a nice encounter. So this was one of the amazing footage we didn't go to the show, but if you can see, the eyes are kind of purple because they are about to change their skin, shed the skin, and the eyes become purple like that. So the same thing, I was trying to repeat the movement, but you see in a different place. We could not do the same thing. So it was only one-time opportunity. The animal, when they're smaller, they are much faster. So I lost the animal really fast, like it was about folded, scared, and moved away. So as you can see, the animals are not aggressive at all. They always try to escape for us, but we kept looking, we kept chasing. And sometimes we find the animal already on the water. And that's the best opportunity to find the animal that's already swimming. That's what happened on the last sequence. We found the animal that was already swimming and we were ready, so we need to be fast, get in the water, get everything ready. So I just gear up and jump in the water. But at this time, we see all the silty that the animal did. sealed out. And it's impressive that a huge anaconda like that, sometimes it disappear in front of you because they find these roots and they go inside. And the way we have to find out if the animal is there is by feeling. So sometimes you have to stick the hand inside to see if you can feel the animal, because it's really hard to actually see it under this root. So we touch and see if we can feel the snake over there. It's like checking if there's something there. Like of course, we do that with care, very slowly, to see, oh, there's an animal here. And then if it's there, if you know it's there, we have to wait. So second try, testing very, very slow. And then there we go. The anaconda is there. When that happens, it's just about waiting and until the animal decides to come out to breathe and to find a new hide. There's a lot of current on this environment, so it's really hard to keep like steady and keep like chasing the animal or filming, because the current is ripping sometimes. And the anaconda swim is very, very gentle and slowly, but we need to keep up. To keep up is really hard. And then there's the big one we were looking for. And then you can see, compared to me, the size of the animal. It's huge. This was like about a 7 meters one. Big female, old female. They come to this area sometimes on this season to mate. So they're there looking for males. Once they're out and swimming, that's the chance we have. So this was the only chance we had to see the animal. So that's after all this search, this is when the action happens and we're there. This is when you need to be ready 100%. Camera ready, camera can't fail, because you probably have sometimes 1 minute, sometimes 5, sometimes more, like half an hour with the animal. We never know. There we go. This is how big the animal was. And you can see like me in the background, and it's a really, really big animal. And not for a second, he never shows an aggressive behavior. It always tries to move gentle away from us. So we try to move ahead to get it passing, to get a different look. But these are more general shots when you can see that we can get really, really close of the animal. We never touch the animal, but we just try to get as close as possible to show that the animal doesn't care about us. He's gonna check us, but there's never like an attack. He never wants to attack us. He's checking with tongue what we are, but he never shows any sign of aggression. Just checking me. Nothing he cares about, and then he's just move his way and continue his journey to the river, and we capture as much feed we can. You can see there's a lot of courage, low visibility, so it's not an easy dive. This is one of the most hard dives we can do. It's very shallow, but it's very tricky to get all these seeds. And then disappears. So always try to be creative and use these resources as much as we can. So why I do all of this, why I go after images like that, animals, swimming, jaguars, swimming sloths, dolphins, elephants, make friends, elephants that can swim, anacondas, like you saw, different wildlife encounters, crocodiles, make other friends, camp on these zillion star hotels like that, see sunrises like this, hike sometimes like for hours to find a location, get very tired, go to some really dirty roads to find another location, like have to deal with a lot of mechanics and fixing and fueling in remote areas, get beaten a lot in the face, and find amazing reefs because it is an amazing planet. We do not just because I love, because the planet needs this image. People need to see all of these images because we're turning planet Earth into a planet that loses biodiversity. The planet is losing biodiversity really fast and becoming a planet like Mars, and we don't want that. So we as a species, we are consuming all the resources of our planet. Overpopulation, we're killing the animals, we're polluting the planet, we're destroying our forests. We're consuming non-stop. This image, like we're killing our reefs, we're killing the crew that takes care of the life support systems of our planet. And this is non-stop. Places that used to be beautiful and biodiverse are now totally dead. And we don't want this. We don't want a planet like Mars. We want the planet to be just like this, just like it is. And that's why I use these images to make people to fall in love with our planet. And through all this footage and the stories, and raise awareness about nature conservancy. This is the most important goal. People don't have access to this footage, so we need to use this as a powerful tool to make people to fall in love. And we don't need all this high technology. You can do that with your iPhone. You can do that with a GoPro. So I just ask as much people as can to do the same. Get your phone, use it as a tool, and make people show the planet as it is to the world, because we need people to get involved with conservation, need people to fall in love with our planet. And that's always my biggest goal. So, because we really live in a very wonderful, wonderful planet. I think we are out of time. It is. So, yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you so much, Cristian.
Hello.
Hi, Cristian.
Hi.
That was a beautiful presentation, I must say. Especially with the anaconda, amazing. And also, I don't know, everything is amazing, I must say. Thank you so much for sharing this journey that you have and your love towards the environment and nature to everybody in the edX community. We really like to thank you and appreciate you for that one. And we do have a couple of questions, but because we ran out of time, those questions we will be posting it on edX Facebook.
Okay.
We hope that you can actually help us to answer them. Yeah. Thank you so much, Cristian. Thank you for your time. Waking up so early in the morning. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you. very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Have a good day then.
You
Bye.
too. Bye bye.